Right, exactly. Like a brand of brands.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of what we've already got, right? We've got already got like huge conglomerate companies that are like basically brands of brands. And I think, from my view, like if I was to think about it from a selfish point of view, it seems more like I've I've put the work into building something, and it's actually pretty hard to build something. I've found out, but I've actually gathered some clout through just being kind of successful in whatever vertical I've been doing. So maybe for like Basil, it's like on timeline seems very sharp, and also I assume has accumulated some capital. How do I live a better lifestyle at the same time as accumulating more capital? I know I'll abstract the responsibility to like a lower rung, and I'll just use, but I'm still valuable, so I'm gonna like kind of just give my capital to things and bet on things that I have kind of more control of ultimately. So it's an interesting thing.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is pretty
I mean,
fascinating.
and also like you can look on the flip side of it. Maybe you can call it like abstracting responsibility downstream so that people do more grunt work for you. But you could also say, well, actually, no, I want to have a larger impact. So I want to, be able to have my finger in more pies than I would be if I was just a founder on my own. Because I have like these values I want to like work within. It's not like a totally negative thing, I think, but there's elements of both.
Yeah, the cynic in me is like we saw this pattern with launching and like a competing blockchain, right? So it's Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then like a million others. And every one of the million others, they could have in theory been building things on Ethereum, but they're like, no, actually we want to create like an ecosystem around XYZ and like kind of create our own little island. And now you have a bunch of ghost chains effectively, right? So I guess like competition does, tend to bring out the best in people. So, but it's like interesting because it's like the competition layer is at the incubator layer. But in my mind, from an incubator perspective, the most successful one won't be the one that has the most influence. It'll be something correlated with that loosely, which is capital, right? The incubators that ultimately deliver the most capital to projects will be the most successful. Um, so
Or
there,
extract the most capital from projects. Like their projects don't even necessarily have to last longer than a year, as long as they can kind of like withdraw their token allocation before the crash. They get in lower and they can sell higher, and like they don't have to. They can be a successful incubator just by like dumping on people who weren't the incubator, basically.
Right.
yeah. Well, ideally, these incubators for their tokens, they have like 1 year lockups at least, or something like that. But the crazy thing is, like, nobody really, it doesn't sound attractive from the incubator's perspective because these coins are here one day, gone the next. Like, unfortunately, um, it's hard to have an app coin with real staying power.
I think Zora is an interesting model where, like, if Zora ends up being, I guess maybe the issue with Zora is you've got, yes, you're getting lots of value driven to the Zora token, which is basically on Ethereum. So value is getting driven to Ethereum at the same time. But you're basically expecting that creators will be able to continue to get more people to buy their token in order for Zora to continue to accumulate. Whereas in a higher ecosystem, if every, or even like as you were talking about, I can't remember what your project's called, Cam, right now, but like the app coins thing, if revenue is meaningfully connected to the underlying or an underlying token, then that might be a way of like building like it's almost like blockchains have done it the opposite way around, where like the brand of brands is Ethereum and that came first, and then you have the layer on top of that, and everything drives value down.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's a crazy thought, but
No, yeah, and there's like, yeah, stacking brands is interesting, right? Because Zora is like a real stack because Zora is on ETH and then Creator is on Zora. I do think that there's a lot of value in that stacked approach. Like, for instance, in this everyone's their own creative agency, one man creative agency world, it could be interesting to have a token that is, so with every trading pair, there's the base token and the quote token, right? So with the creator coin on Zora, it's, there's the creator coin paired with Zora, and that's the pair. It would be interesting if there was like a, for instance, conglomerate of one man creative agency base, and then the pair is each individual creative agency, right? So anytime someone is added to the tribe, it kind of brings new money into that base token, which benefits any coin that's paired against that base token. It's like an interesting alignment mechanism. I think Zora does it for their entire platform, which isn't the way that it's too wide of a net. Because I was thinking about it with my company, right? Like, my company is called On-Chain Inc. And people always ask, like, oh, what are you going to do with Tippin? Or, oh, what are you going to do with Launcher? Oh, are you doing something with Launcher? Does that mean you're not doing something with Tippin? Which one do I invest in? Right? Things like that. And I would love, as a multi-pronged company, to have like an On-Chain Inc. coin, for instance, and then for each project, like Tiffin to be paired with that, Launcher to be paired with that. And so if someone just wants exposure to everything I'm doing, they buy that company coin. But then if they want to bet on specific projects, or specific projects have certain utilities, they want to access like yield and stuff like that, they can trade into that. So I don't know. I think that there's, to your point about like sort of the brand, like stacking of brands, I think that there's a really interesting model there. Something to think about for Higher too. Maybe Higher as a pair coin for some initiative that we might want to launch. Like if we aggregate a bunch of people with like a specific goal in mind, and they all want to launch coins, pairing it with Higher and like making that a thing could be effective.
I'd be down to try it with a broom.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be interesting. I mean, honestly, a lot of that feels like I'm going to come up with ideas like a week from now, because I feel like conceptually we're talking at such a high level. I like really need to let this bake in my brain for like a day or two. But yeah, that is true though. To your point, John, is like brands of brands. Like, yeah, LVMH, right? Like there's a whole bunch of like clothing companies under that brand, right? Even, and then even like the, Johnson and Johnson, and like there's such big brands with like, it almost feels like they also have like their competitors. Like whoever owns Mars chocolate probably has Hershey's and also M&Ms, which is like, okay, you're covering all bases with like just chocolate in general, right? Like the people who like it and the people who don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that the goal then?
And the gummies.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the goal then? Maybe with these bigger brands, is like we're gonna capture a market and then also the anti-market.
Probably.
Anti-market implies like everything except. I feel like it's like the full spectrum of taste around a certain thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
Then maybe that's because then if you think about it that way, like how with the blockchain analogy, people build blockchains with like a specific use case, right? Like, oh, we're building a blockchain for creators. You know what I mean? We're building a blockchain that will help you with that it'll maybe like leans towards trading, and like with that aspect, the blockchain maybe is like too narrow to catch every person. I mean, with the exception of Ethereum, obviously, because all the chains live under Ethereum, or the EVM chains at least. But
Yeah, I mean, like Story Protocol was a chain that like wanted to have IP on it, and they caught flack when one of the co-founders left like a month ago after having raised like $100 million, and they're like, "What the fuck has this guy even done? Like, you have a chain, but nobody's putting any meaningful IP on here." So yeah, like creative chains haven't really succeeded. It's mostly been tied to financial chains like ETH and Solana, right? Like NFT collections and things like that. But yeah, to your point, different flavors. Like Arbitrum positioned itself as like the DeFi chain,
right,
and it was for a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years ago. It was like, wow, this is great. It's like what we were doing on ETH, but low fees.
right.
That position has since eroded, so it's also not guaranteed by any stretch to like, last.
Kind of depends where like the liquidity or the volume is, I guess. Like, Base have done it. Like, it's a kind of a smart thing for if people are on ramping dollars via Coinbase, then Base is going to end up like getting more and more value in it, which is going to attract like the more apps, because you basically have more dollars that you can kind of charge fees on for services.
Yeah, they have a huge port of entry.
Yeah,
with their brand, and yeah, it's funny because like for like old heads like me, like Coinbase would feel like a terrible on ramp because it's like, oh no, you have to like lock that down, you have to be very secure, like two-factor this, like, but like I think they've improved a lot of that UX and messaging for retail now since then, right? Because my account's like 10 years old. So yeah, they're in a really strong position, but the base app continues to be a work in progress, to put it nicely. I check it every like once a week, and I'm like, I'll stick to the purple app for now, but yeah.
It's not just the base app either, I guess. It's also the Shopify thing, like the fact that Shopify is going to integrate and anyone can whip up a Shopify store and then start like collecting value on Base. That's kind of crazy.
I missed that.
I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah, is that part of like the Basecamp announcements?
No, I think it was even earlier. It's when they announced the Base app. They had the founder of Shopify sitting on the couch talking about how Shopify is going to be part or like integrate with Base.
Wow,
sick.
That's awesome.
Which, like, bringing it back to higher, the idea of like having shops on Shopify that have some kind of that the end user has no idea what's going on, but in this brands of brands, like in exchange for some kind of something that the higher ecosystem in general offers to individual brands. If they then send value down to the token at like the R base layer, which is the higher token, then value can kind of like accrue through real sales of real products or real sales of real services through your Shopify front end. Higher, I feel like, kind of uniquely positioned in that sense because it's so open. I was talking to Cam just before you joined, Brian, that like there's an openness and already a buy-in from multiple individuals into the brand that they want to build on it. It's kind of unique in that sense. I feel that like people have taken to it and are expressing themselves through it in different ways, which is kind of weird in that I don't see that many other places. I feel like leaning further into like higher as the Nike of crypto or the Red Bull of crypto seems like a direction over time. Like but it's like people have to buy into that idea, which is basically what a lot of people have done. Yeah. Because only if they buy into the idea is the liquidity moving towards that thing. The same way people are buying into base as a thing, and it's also easy to get there. It's like two things at the same time. Like it's easy to get there and easy to kind of grok.
Yeah. Is there, like, what's the word on higher athletics? Because I've been hearing that the past couple of weeks on our calls. Is that launching soon? Like, what's going on there?
So there is already a higher athletics channel, and
higher apparel or something. Wasn't there like a clothing initiative launching?
Higher market.
Higher market. Sorry.
Yeah. So the word on that is that Genuine Jack has been busy and ill, from what I understand. So that hasn't kind of moved forward recently. But the overall vision is that Higher Market could potentially be another organization that we could kind of like work alongside. So yeah.
And I guess, has he vocalized any plans to like, like who curates what's on there, and like I guess the strategy of operation? Because maybe I've missed that.
I don't know about the strategy of operation in detail, but I do know that in the past they have asked for designs from the community and then made kind of favorites of theirs. And I don't know if they have plans to decentralize that even more, but I know that they were running up against problems in terms of like production and fulfillment. How do you if the designs are coming from everywhere, the cost to produce and fulfill is still kind of centralized to that one place. So they were kind of ideating around that.
Got it.
It's one of the hardest parts. All right, I'm adding. Oh, by the way, we are on YouTube now.
Oh, great. What was the issue?
Literally just private versus public stream.
Oh.
My bad on that.
All good, yeah.
I'm adding our, because I also, while we were talking, I noticed that our names are on here rather than like a username. So I'm changing them to our usernames under.
Oh, should we each go and change our name in meets? Is that what you mean?
I mean, I'm already putting it.
Okay.
Because then you'll show up in all your other meetings as your Farcaster username. Which could be funny, I guess.
So, Colfax can't make it because of some kind of, I don't know, something to do with a couple rings and a big party. I don't know what.
Selfish, bro.
I know, that's exciting.
Yeah, update on the NFT receipts, by the way. It's workable. I have a prototype of it, but I haven't proposed it to governance because it would require a governance upgrade. And before I do that, we need to finalize. For starters, are we okay with just doing off-chain metadata so that we have a design that we can update, because I think it might bog down the initiative based on the progress of the last week. Getting more complicated metadata put into the contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think anything to speed it up is fine. I kind of forget where we left off last week in terms of what we want or maybe we didn't decide like what we want that finality of the thing to be.
Yeah. I get the question coming to mind for me right now is like, why do we want to give NFTs out for the see? It's kind of like a ritualization of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's true. I mean, I think the idea was, I'm not saying that it maintained this way as we've been brainstorming, because I think as we add features and ideas, the idea obviously grows a little bit. But originally it was like just like a point of for people to show off the fact that they've donated, thus creating more of an incentive to donate. Just maybe by the competitive nature of the amounts themselves or the donation number, getting that donation number you want and things like that. I think that's how it started, but there's much more extrapolation after that. You know what I mean? I think the last call we talked about, like after a certain amount, if you donate more than a certain amount, then the receipt turns gold. And like, I think all that kind of stuff might be kind of superfluous. Like it might not be real necessary. It just kind of depends on how much of a thing do we want to make this, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, that might be the deciding factor.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, also part of what having like off-chain metadata might unblock us with, is like if we want to add certain decals or aesthetics or even traits, right? NFTs can have like trait rare or something. We can add that in after the fact, and just have this printing press spitting out the receipts with the flexibility for us to put whatever we want in that higher.zip endpoint that serves up the metadata.
I think maybe one of the things that we thought would be cool to have on chain though was like the ETH value. Will that still be on there regardless?
Yeah. Okay. That'll be so all of the metadata that is available will be tied to the NFT. So the donation ID will be the NFT ID. So we'll be able to kind of go in and pull that relevant metadata from the blockchain directly. So like who donated, right? When they donated, I believe we also track the amount of ETH, like all these things. And we can just pull that into the metadata that we render for the NFT, and others can verify it on chain.
So the off-chain part is basically just what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the aesthetic rendering.
And then how would we accomplish that part of it?
We would write an endpoint in that Next.js, like the repo, like a backend endpoint, not like in the React front end, and it would just spit out a JSON that has the properties that an NFT looks for. So the name, the description, any traits, and then most importantly, the image, which we could specify as a URL, and then that URL is another endpoint on HIGHER.ZIP, which just spits out like, it's an image generator endpoint. Yeah. I've done some stuff like that before too, so like we can kind of like step through it. Like a lot of these mini apps, for instance, like they have like these dynamic images in the feed, that's all. Most of them are all using like Next.js image renderer with like, and it takes like HTML like
Right.
data and then just like spits out a PNG.
Yeah, and people use that for like open graph images, right? Like custom open graph images and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I never experimented with that too much, but I mean, I'm sure it's something I guess I could figure out. I've always wanted to do something like that. I think I've always kind of reverted to like Python and PIL. I think is a library that I was using with Python that it kind of just makes an image and you can draw assets and then give it like an XY kind of coordinate to position it on the image.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's something like that. Yeah.
It's super easy. Let me share my screen.
And what were the reasons why we wanted to potentially have it on chain? Was that just kind of so it was we could say that, or was there like a functional benefit?
The image itself.
On chain metadata.
Yeah. So the big caveat is if higher.zip ever goes down, then the metadata that's being served from it is no longer served, so the image might go away, right? Like the metadata associated with an NFT might go away in the visual layer. In the on-chain layer, it's still there. So like, I'll give you an example. Let's go to base everyone. Base is for everyone. NFT. Where's the open state? Like that's so this image and like this title and this description. If our endpoint goes down, it no longer serves up this data. So we'd be relying on OpenSeas of the world to have cached that. Whereas if it's like fully on chain, like we don't ever have to think about it again. It's just like the blockchain stores all of this. Maybe this image is an IPFS link, so it's not technically on the chain, but as long as IPFS is serving it, which is also kind of tenuous,
I wonder if we could do it both, where it's like, if it's we make it look cool using off-chain metadata, but in a situation where HIGHER.ZIP goes down, it kind of looks very boring, kind of like loot. Basically, it just has the like donation amount, and that's kind of it's just like a black box with those words on it. So the on-chain aspect isn't difficult to do, but we've also got that as a backup. Like in the future, if things do go awry, then we can always kind of say that, well, even if it doesn't look pretty anymore, you've still got proof that it was at this time and this amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering before with the loot style. But that's with the image is an SVG and that image is on chain. You know what I mean? Like that seems like it would maybe eliminate the need to create the API endpoint for just the image generation. Or does it?
Yeah, it would. The only tricky part for me is like I don't know how to do that. So we had to. This is where we talked about like, okay, maybe we'll pull in Ripe or someone like that.
That's right.
So yeah, if there's a will there is a way.
I mean, I can show you this kind of contract real quick, actually, that I've been working on a while back.
Oh wow, something. Sorry. Keep going.
It's pretty much just. Let me see if this actually. How long does this take? There we go. Is it coming up? Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's kind of blurry though.
Oh.
Oh, it's getting clear.
So in it, there is essentially a function that creates the SVG.
Nice.
You know, it picks things from the array that was also in there. And I guess the point to notice here is, sorry, I can't zoom in. Maybe if I make this window smaller. Does this make it bigger at all?
It's good. It's fine for me. John, can you see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, the point to note is basically this X and Y, right? Like that's where the text is going to populate on the entire canvas. And then the text is literally just text, right? So there's that aspect of it. And this one's pretty easy because it's just a 350 by 350 white square. And then just like in Loot, the text is just placed at specific coordinates, thus making a list. I would imagine our receipt, although obviously I don't like to impose any design limitations when making this, but like our receipt wouldn't be too different than something like this.
Yeah. And if we wanted to, this token URI endpoint, this is what returns all of the metadata, right? As an SVG string with everything. Yeah. So what we could do is we could make it upgradable. Like when someone calls token URI, we could have that call another contract that generates this here. And the reason why we would want to do that maybe is that if we can update what contract it's called for the image generation, then we can upgrade the image over time.
Ooh,
but have it be fully on chain. So, yeah.
That's appealing to me. I don't know what case we could do that, but I like having the option. You know?
Yeah. Then we can like let's say that all this SVG is like in that contract, but then we have the ability to instead like point the NFT contract to like a fork of it, and then like have more styles. That could be really cool.
Yeah, that definitely goes above my head, but I like the sound of it, honestly. Like, like that sounds. I love like a modular system in that way. I love it. So that basically, you're saying is there's one contract that essentially fetches metadata, traits, and all that, and then that sends it to a separate contract that's in charge of making the image, the image for it, essentially.
Exactly, and we upgrade that latter one if we want to change the styles.
And does that change it for all the previous ones as well? Because if it's upgradable, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So then basically, if we upgrade the receipt every receipt that has been created up until that point, the image changes for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like the solution for it right there.
I think so.
If at some point in the future we're like, all right, we're gonna now tier the donation sizes, we can create that new contract and say all you need to do is go check if your receipts turn gold. If your receipts turn gold, then you can claim this new thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool, actually. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. That is a good idea too. Because then you would tier, contracts that have already, receipts that have already been made. You can tier them after the fact. If we even decide to do something like that, right? Because then that's also the limitless possibility of it is like we don't know what kind of ideas we're gonna have later with that we may want to involve the receipt in. Right now it seems like the need and the want is more aesthetic than like utilitarian, right? It's more like it would be cool to have a receipt, but then later on we may want to do different things with those receipt holders, and I think that's where the benefit of that separate image contract would be.
Yeah. So it's like, it's cool because all the details of the donation are on chain. We're going to have an NFT contract that spits out NFTs. And when someone goes to look up the metadata for it, we're going to have another contract that it references that can pull from the donations and render it as an SVG based on the styles of the day, whatever we want to do. But we can change that third component. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good to me. I think for the purpose of like getting SVG generation going, Brian, if you want to like upload tool or what, I think like, or maybe start with like, maybe we tweak it. Basically, we need the SVG generation code.
Yeah.
As like a starting point, and
Yeah,
then
totally. Is gist fine? I'm gonna just do like a gist.
Sure. Yeah. Does that code work? Have you deployed it?
I have like 3 versions of this file on my computer, and they definitely worked at one point, but I haven't visited this file in a really long time. I don't think I've made many changes to it, so it should still work.
Okay, cool. And then yeah, it would just be like, what are the initial traits that we want to show? There's donation amount, there's from. Maybe we just start with that to begin with. So just be an SVG with that information.
Is in the on-chain metadata is like we can easily find the time it was done as well? Yes.
I believe so. Yeah, let me double check.
I'm thinking about like why you would differentiate between different NFT holders, and I guess donation size is one, but also donation time would be another. Like, were you there at the beginning kind of vibe?
Let's see what we got going on here.
I just make it a public gist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see, why not? Super secret contract over. It's funny, I did want to ask for your input on this a while back. I think I sent you a message on Telegram, but I think you were busy at the time.
Oh, no way. My bad.
No worries.
Yeah, so we have a user timestamp, each value. If you donated a token, we have that token, like the address, not the ticker. And the quantity of that token if it was another token. But we probably don't need to focus on that for the first version.
I might need you to help me out and say that again, because...
Oh, no, that was just for John. John, we have the time.
Oh, dope. That's great. Yeah, I can't really think of any other things. I think the cool thing about that data being on chain is that other people can do stuff with it too. So yeah. And then the other thing to talk about, I guess, is that the competition launched, and there's been a few submissions, I think, so far. There's at least one AI generated one that I've seen, maybe 2 actually. There's one person on Twitter who didn't follow the formatting requirements, but it's still a decently cool video, and we could probably still use it, I imagine, but it's not 16:9. And yeah, there was a super cool one from, I forget his name now, but he did like a skateboarding video, which is probably my favorite of the ones that have come in so far.
Nice. Where do I go to see them?
Yeah,
Is it just in the thread?
No, so they're in the higher channel, but I'll share them to our Telegram now. this is the AI made one, which is interesting. I like it without sound, I think. And then there's one on Twitter as well.
Sushi.
Oh, and the other thing to talk about is that the proposal, the first two proposals have passed. So I think in around 10 hours or so, the fees will be withdrawn from the higher party things. And then the next two proposals are the one which sends the higher that was withdrawn plus whatever was dormant already to the Guardian wallet, and the ETH to the permapool. I wanted to ask about the permapool, Cam, because obviously when we buy higher, the price of higher goes up. But then matching equal amounts of, like, it's not going to be exactly 5 points. It won't be exactly half the ETH that we get that goes into the LP. I was wondering how that works, basically.
Yeah, so what happens there is that that you'll end up with a situation where you have slightly more ETH than you have higher, right? Because the price of higher goes up. And so you'll pair all the higher into the LP, but I think you'll have a little bit of excess ETH. So for that, we can just call donate again. It'll take that ETH in the contract and run it again. Yeah.
Cool. So will it do that automatically? Because the party proposal will be sending the ETH to the permapool contract.
It'll send it, it'll execute the buy with some slippage, pair it, and add it to the permapool. If there's any left over, we can just call donate again. With it, we don't even have to send funds. We can just call the function again to have it like clean up any dust in there. Yeah. Yeah. It like balances itself out. It's just sometimes it might take an extra run. Yeah.
Yes, that's super cool. Yeah, things to look forward to there.
Yeah, that'll be huge. I mean, that's going to be like a 9 ETH buy. Is that right? Or what was the ETH at?
I think we're getting 11.8 overall. So it'll about half of that will be a buy of higher bonus.
Okay. What's the other half? Is the other half going to be in higher, or the other half is going to another initiative?
So the other half will be in higher, and that'll go to the Guardian wallet that then will distribute that over time. It'll give us a decent runway to kind of like ramp things up. I imagine now that we're posting from the HIGHER.ZIP, X and Farcaster, every competition we do, we can kind of target different communities. We can work with different people and kind of just spread this idea that if you follow this HIGHER.ZIP channel or the HIGHER.ZIP thing, there are opportunities to earn. So yeah, I'm imagining things will. It may take some time to kind of grow in momentum, but I imagine that there's a strategy for both targeting small little initiatives where we're like, okay, skateboarding community, we're going to do a small rewards pool for skateboard related content, and here's another more broad thing that anybody can enter over maybe a longer period of time. And through those two things together, invite more and more people to kind of consider what higher is.
Sick. So it's 11 ETH, you said?
Yeah.
Half and higher, half in ETH, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, it's 11 ETH with it getting, oh yeah, so that'll go into the perm pool. It's 11 ETH in total. And then we're also receiving around 7 million higher into Guardian wallet.
Gotcha. And that's not going in the perma pool. That'll be for like operations budget or something.
Yeah. And the thing I'm most excited for that really is, or not even operations budget, it's just for rewards programs. So the thing I'm most excited for that there is kind of working with revenue generating kind of partners. So if like people who are watching this now want to like think of ideas where like we want to sell these NFTs and they're going to be higher branded or something, and we want more buyers, then we could say, all right, we'll put up 100,000 higher in rewards for all the buyers who buy within this period of time, or buy NFTs 50 to 100, whatever it is. Then you share a bit of revenue with us. We'll add that to the pool. We'll increase. You're basically buying higher by adding things to the pool, and you're getting more buyers, and your buyers get rewarded with higher. So it's like lots of balls juggling, but I'll find an easier and better way of describing that over time, hopefully.
Cool.
It was
That's
exciting to have budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I think once the funds are like there too, like once the money's in the perma pool, once the hire is in treasury, like it'll suddenly feel a lot more real, right? It's awesome that we've been able to get this far, just like freewheeling it on the side.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like kind of like, it's cool at that point. Then there's also an additional, like I've been feeling an additional responsibility in terms of like, all right, we now need to prove this kind of works. So like how we use the hire in part is up to us, and in part is like, all right, how do we invite people who are doing interesting things to kind of become part of the ecosystem? What are the cool ways we can use this hire? What are the ways in which we can really put those rewards to good use to invite people into the higher network in like actually meaningful ways, as opposed to just saying, right, do this, and then they receive the hire and then they end up dumping it immediately. How do you kind of strategically invite them into a longer journey, which is like, yeah, we're rewarding you with hire, and what we're actually hoping is that you'll use this hire to access X, or to be on the journey of going higher together in some way. Like these are tokens that signal you're part of a network, as opposed to tokens you can take and just dump. So I think that's kind of the next phase I'm thinking about, is like, how can we like add more utility to this hire that we dole out? Like when you hold 1,000 hire, can you join some certain thing, or do you get access to the next rewards pool, or these are things to think about.
Rebase that shit.
Oh, rebase. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope. It's like kind of thinking about like vesting, right? Like how would you, I mean, I guess that would be like the traditional world idea behind vesting. Although I don't know if that's right for hire, but like that's kind of why they do that, right? Is so you get almost like a long-term equity for something, right?
Yeah. Long-term incentives for long-term alignment.
Yeah.
What is Rebase again? It's left my mind what Rebase does.
So Rebase is a LP incentives platform. So it does basically the thing that you can think of is you can issue tokens to people that stake tokens. And those tokens could be just higher, for instance, or it could be like LP tokens, which is what we really focused on. So if you're an LP, Rebase is a place to go to stake your tokens if the project is offering LP incentives. And actually, this is super alpha. If anyone's watching, I'm launching the spiritual successor to Rebase soon. I won't say the name, but the idea is that you stake tokens, not LP tokens, just tokens, and you earn yield on them if the project offers yield. That's all it does. So it's just a way to like earn yield on your tokens, but it's only if the money is being provided by the project. We don't actually dictate like where this magic money comes from. It's taking the model that we did with Tippin, where if you stake Tippin, you earn USDC. So it's just making that available to other projects. Side note on that is, I hate that the question is, when do I sell this token to book a profit? It should instead be, how much can I earn by staking it for a year, right? How much yield can I earn? It shouldn't be about price, it should be about yield. And so I think part of what we're trying to do is shift that conversation a little bit through structures that can support that narrative.
Yeah. The question behind that question is like, where does the yield come from? Like, where did the USDC come from for the tipping thing? Was that kind of like propped up by yourselves?
It comes from the fees that people pay when they use tipping. So every time a tip is sent, there's a small fee that's assessed. Those fees get pooled and then distributed out to stakers.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So implicitly, there's like okay, maybe like that's one thing. If a company or a project has revenue in that sense, then they can just place that to stakers if they're like doing transactions. Another common one for token projects is to have trading fees, right? That's what a lot of people make money on from clanking. And so potentially trading fees could be linked up to these fee pools. But yeah, it's really open-ended. It's kind of up to the project.
For higher, I always think like maybe the yield for me personally over time with higher has been like connecting to people, kind of like there's alignment through ownership. It'd be cool. I imagine there's cool ways of like making that like almost leveling up that alignment. So like if you prove commitment in some way, could be through staking, then there's like additional layers of the network you can kind of like access. Someone in a call this week asked me, like, if I want to be part of HIGHER.ZIP, do I need to buy an allocation of higher to even get there or something? So I think there's interesting things happening there. I don't know, like through Opsys, they've got the situation where you got to buy some percentage of supply in order to access their skills for a period of time. So there's definitely other ways to provide kind of utility to the token. But yield is an interesting one.
Yeah, I think that it's like, I love when projects offer utility to tokens. I think it's something that prevents most people from launching tokens, though, is that question of what's the utility going to be? And so if, what we're able to do makes it easier to answer that question, then I think that, hopefully we get more people launching tokens, but that's ultimately what we want. Okay, cool. So anyways, my marching orders are to go deeper on the NFT stuff. I can have a governance proposal up for this governance contract addition that has this NFT mint tied to it. And yeah, I see your gist, Brian, so I can start there.
I was just going to ask about that. You need me to do anything else regarding that?
If I have questions, I'll shoot them your way. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll take a look later today.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it seems like we've duct taped experiments I've had in the past to make this happen, which is very exciting to me cognitively in my head. It's like, oh shit, okay, cool. This tool contract that I thought was just going to go straight in the garbage, turns out it might have some interesting stuff in it that we can remove and incorporate somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm excited. for on-chain innovation. I think we need a blog post to come out soon too.
Oh, interesting. Do we do Paragraph or what? Self-hosted on our own site?
I'm a big fan of Paragraph. Support the ecosystem. I don't know. Self-hosted could be interesting. Publish it as an NFT. I think Paragraph actually supports minting it as an NFT. So in that sense, it's self-hosted.
Oh, still? Because they do coins now, right? I had thought they had done that.
Yeah, so you can collect posts. So in that sense, it is like perma post.
And what do you think the blog should be?
I think it should be, well, I don't want it to be like too prescriptive, but I think it should be about like meme economies, right? Because I think that that's broadly what we're doing here is we're turning memetics into like a specific meme into an economy by introducing structures on top of it. And I think especially once we get recurring revenue from the perma pool, we'll be able to back up the statement that like there is a real economy here because we're pulling in money, but then that money is getting distributed to different parties. Here are some of the parties, right? Some of the stuff that you shared, John, in the Telegram chat as an early example, right? I think just like, yeah, because it's like the engine is built and now it's like we're about to really like start the engine and like go for a test drive.
Yeah.
And I feel like all we need to do is like one lap in that, one full lap. And then we have all the material that we need to like start like putting together an essay about like how this could potentially be like a blueprint for God. I mean, I feel like it's kind of derogatory saying any other meme coin, but like any meme, right? That has sort of some sticking power in people's minds. So yeah, I don't know, because we also talked about that too, right? Like having perma pools for other projects potentially.
Yeah.
And we don't have to necessarily say that that's what we're focused on right now, but maybe that just naturally happens where it's like, oh, I'm running Dick Butt and I saw your post and I'm really inspired by it and I want to orient my community in a similar way. And then we can start the conversation there.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like we need, we'll have good cannon fodder by that point. So it's good to let it rip.
And of course, the consulting fee for the four of us is like 100 billion trillion higher. Something like that.
Or we could just take seats on their table. If they launch a perma pool and they have their governance, we just say, okay, give us seats.
Interesting.
That's true.
We'll help you run it. Yeah. Okay.
I think
Cool.
it's over time. It's like like I guess question. What's the most valuable thing that people have? It's like either their energy or their time. Yeah, interesting. One of the things that one of my meditation teacher talks about is how like when they do one thing at a time, that's when their energy is most potent, and then when it's like inefficiently dispersed amongst lots of things, then nothing really gets done well. So that's something to think about as well. But I guess it's just more about being able to focus on what's happening right now as opposed to not doing multiple things, I think.
Yeah. I like doing multiple things because I feel like I get bored easily. And so in the time that I'm doing something else, as long as the other thing has like in the case of this, right? There's like you guys are helping move this forward. And so then I'm able to kind of come back to it and be like, oh, there's new information. Like, let me just go in with my knife and kind of chop things up and try and spit something out. I don't know. It's the same reason. I think it's also kind of like why a lot of people talk about like future of work and like employee, like long-term employee things are kind of done. It's all about like, like sort of shorter term collaborations between people. I don't know. Maybe that's not the same analogy, but I agree focus is needed to deliver an impact, but for how long, for over what period of time it's held constant, I think it can be actually like chopped up and like, depending on the person. It's my style at least.
Yeah, I agree. I also like, in addition to that, I kind of like the potential for cross-pollinating ideas, right? If you're working on something for 3 hours today and then I switch context to a whole other thing, it's possible that some of those residual ideas from the first 3 hours could like get infused with whatever I'm working on now in a cool and interesting way,
100%. Like, that's why when John talked about the permapool, I was working on LP stuff for Rebase. And I was like, oh, I can just bring 50% of this tech right here and then just build the other 50%.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, not to knock your meditation teaching down too much.
No, it makes sense. Like you can't, it's the, like, how or why attention moves anyway is fucking mindfuck. Like, why am I curious about certain things and not? And like, as you've both been talking about, like the things that you've been curious about over time have just kind of like accidentally led to the next thing.
Yeah.
So it's that is part of the process also.
Are you guys cool if I hop off? Sorry, I got someone coming. I'm gonna do a little lunch thing.
I think we kind of wrapped up, right? That was kind of like the.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll think about the blog posts and stuff for sure. I like the idea of meme economics. I'm gonna try and make it like, I think, invitational. Like I'd like to bring more people into the higher ecosystem as opposed to blueprinting for other people to go and run off their own thing. I don't mind both, but it'd be cool if people were looped in.
Amazing, yeah. If you have a draft that you want to share anytime between now and next week, shoot it over. So hard part's writing it, the easy part's leaving notes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
watching, I guess.
Oh yeah, thanks for watching. Victor was in here. What's up? He left already, but what's up in the past?
Who was here?
Victor. He does what's it called? The brand competitions. What is it called?
Yeah. Branders.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Victor.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Thursdays.
Yeah, you as well, guys. Talk to you later.
No, bye.
Bye.